Hello everyone, my name is Aryak, and in this video we're going to talk about how to create classes and how to generate getters, setters, and the toString method. These are not that important, but when it comes to making big projects and you want to use encapsulation, then you have to do this. So I'll just create an empty class. So you can see there's this default package in which we have app class as always. This is the runner. Here we have public static void main. I'll be writing it right here. So we have the main method, and in this package called com.models, you have a class called student.java. It's plain class right now, nothing inside, and we are going to fill this class completely. And one thing to note that you need to know how to use this ID. Okay, you don't have to write code on yourself by yourself. There's this ID. This will help you. You need to know the shortcuts and the tricks. Okay, so this is what we are going to learn in this video. This is the target for this video. Write this class completely and then create objects of it. So let's get started. So first of all, we have a class called student, right? The student is an entity. You can have it in project. So just try to figure out what are the attributes for the student. Student always has a roll number, right? So we'll just write roll number. Secondly, we have got name, and third, let's give it. What can we give? Let's just give an ID. Okay. Now these are the three attributes for a student. Now roll number. What is the type of data? It's int. We'll just write int. Name is of course string. So string. And ID generally you keep it as int, but since we are looking far too ahead, like we should look far too ahead, we'll keep it as long. Okay, because in a project you can have millions of students, right? It should be scalable. So integer is just 16, I think 32 bits, and long is 64 bits, so it obviously gives you more space. So let's go for long. And now this is what the attributes are. Once you've written this attributes, you always write it at the top of the class body typically, and then you implement getters and setters. Now getters and setters, what are they? They are just plain methods. So they come below the variables, and these are just, it's just like you're restricting kind of access. First of all, let's mark it as private. Okay, you don't want them to be accessed outside this class. Okay, so private, you mark them as private, and now you'll implement getters and setters. So as I told you, you need to know the tricks for the ID. So you don't write it yourself, you make the ID work for you. So go to source. Here you can see there's function known as getters and setters. So select all over here. You want getters and setters for all of these attributes. You just click generate. You can see the ID has automatically generated this. Now, along with getters and setters, there's one more method we need to override. That is toString method. And right now I will not be overriding it. We'll just see what happens. What is the use of this toString method? We'll come to know in a bit. But for now, we have implemented getters and setters. Okay, and we've also made the class. So two-thirds of the work is done. And now let's just create an object over here, right? So we'll say student s is equal to new student. And even after giving the semicolon, you can see that there's this compilation failure. You already well acquainted with this. It's in another package, so we need to import the class, right? We have discussed this in the previous video. You can see it's imported now, and now we will set these attributes. We understand this. We are setting attributes. We've created an object, and what are the attributes? These are the attributes. Roll number. Let's just format it. Okay. Roll number, string name, and ID. So these three are the attributes. So let's just set them. Okay. So I'll say s dot set. You can see ID automatically gives you what are the attributes. So just give the name as string, right? So let's give it as Arya. Okay, and let's just set the roll number as 28, and then go as set ID. So let's just give the ID as 1. Okay, now you have set these attributes to this student object. Now they have been set to this object, right? S has the name as Aryak. So if you do s dot get name, you're going to get Aryak as an output. If you do s dot roll number, get roll number, you're going to get 28. So let's just print an overview of this object. So I'll just say sys out. Okay, right, and I'll just print this object s, and you expect the name, roll number, and ID to be displayed, right? So let's just run this and just think if we can get this. Obviously the output, you will not like the output. Okay, this is something weird. You didn't expect this. You expected Aryak 28 and 1 to come out in the output, right? But this is something weird. Now what is this? Now let me just tell you what this is. This is actually a hash code. You can see it has created it for this class. This is the class for complete qualified name of the class, right? Be the package name followed by the class name, and then you have at the rate and this hash code. Now what is this? Actually, in essence, we are trying to do is we are trying to print this reference, right? And like we discussed in the previous video, the reference is always created on stack and the object is on the heap, right? So when you try to print the object or you try to print the reference, it's just going to print a hash code. This is the memory address, you can say. It's the hash code to be precise, and you cannot see the object, right? For us to see the values of this object, you have to say s dot get name, right? And just save this and run this again. So you will see this time you get the output as Arya. But what if I don't want to print these individually, right? I want a complete object. So is there a way? Yes, there is a way, but for that you have to understand something known as this toString method. Now, what is this toString method? Now, this toString method is called when a programmer tries to print an object or a reference to that object. Okay, now we are printing s, we are printing the reference. So JVM will first check, it will go to this class and it will search for a method called as toString. You can clearly see there's no such method. So what will it do? It will simply print the hash code like it did in the previous output. In the console you saw that there's a weird something at the rate and 7 some hexadecimal code. So it's going to be the hash code. But we can go to this class and we can override this method and alter it to perform to give the output what we want. So I know it's a bit hard to digest, so let's just do it. Again, go to source. Last time we did generate getters and setters, right? This time we'll go generate toString. You take all the fields, select all. Oh, not this, sorry, and click generate. Now you can see that it has added a method. You can see the override annotation, and it has added a method called toString. And what is it returning? It's returning a string. And what does this string contain? It contains all these attributes which we assign to the student, right? So let's just save this. So we'll go here, and now if we try to print this, we try to run this. Now JVM, what will JVM see this time? It will see that it will go to this class. It will see, okay, he has implemented, he has overridden this method, this toString, and the output which he is asking me, the programmer is asking me to give is this. These attributes to be printed along with these strings, right? So this time, no mistake, and we will have a proper output. Look, this is what we decided that we will have, right? This is what we discussed. We didn't want the object reference to be displayed. We wanted the object details to be displayed. For that, you have to override this toString method, right? So in every project, this is a typical class. It's called models, right? In a project you can have many models. Right now we have students. These are basically the tables. These are basically the tables which we have in our database. So you create the corresponding classes and then you override toString, and this is basically used in debugging when you want to see if a object is being sent by the database, like if the records are coming to the data from the database, and if you want to just check them if the values are perfect, you use toString method. You just s out it in the database methods and you can check. So this is all for this video, and